Good afternoon, my name is Mariah Kidwell and I'm here to help facilitate successful professional learning teams in order to reach our student goals. Our focus is to analyze student data and best teaching practices so that we can meet the needs of our students and provide them with opportunities for academic success. We're taking our strategies for this PLT from Ann Jolly. She created a facilitator's guide to PLTs. One of the things that she tells us is that learning teams are the places where teachers meet to join forces, target specific student learning needs, and create and apply solutions. And that's what I want us to be able to take from today's meetings. It's essential that as a team, we each put forth our very best effort to make this a successful PLT time. Our 6th grade PLT consists of 3 science teachers. Each teacher is responsible for analyzing student data and bringing forth best teaching strategies that they have found successful in their classroom with their students. As a team, we are going to assess student goals and we're going to identify what we need to do to be able to meet those goals. We will keep a detailed log of student progress and we'll turn it into our principal weekly. He will then look at the progress and analyze it and see if he needs to schedule meetings with us as a team or individually. He's going to come to our meetings as often as possible. His goal is to attend once a month. We're going to meet every Wednesday. Students get out early on Wednesdays and students are required to stay late, so that provides us with opportunities to collaborate. We're going to meet every Wednesday from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the library. Ann Jolly also emphasizes the importance of the attendance in these meetings. This is to be taken very seriously. She goes on to tell us that professional learning teams depend on regular meetings to accomplish ambitious work. If team members fail to make attendance and active involvement as a high priority, their paper goals will never come alive for their team and for their students. So what she's telling us is if we don't make it a priority to be at these meetings, the paperwork and the data that we're analyzing becomes useless because those goals are never going to come alive for our students. So before we go any farther in our meeting, we need to establish a set of norms. Jolly explains to us a strategy of establishing these norms, and we're going to utilize that in our meeting today. She tells us that it's very important to make clear to make clear the expectations and the procedures for attendance, preparation, and participation in confidentiality and decision making. So what we're going to do is utilize her strategy. Each of you have a sticky note and a pen sitting in front of you. So what I want you to do is just write down one norm that comes to mind that's of great importance. After you write that down as a team, we're going to come together to create a common set of norms. Ones that we see more frequently on the sticky notes and ones that we value as high priority. So I'll give you just a minute to do that. Okay, so I would give them about 5 minutes to do this. So what I see that we have come together to collaborate and to receive as our norms for these meetings is respect each other, remain on task, and be present and engaged. All of those are of very great importance. So now that we have established norms, it's important to keep these in mind when conflict arises, not only when things are going easy, but when we have conflict. Whenever we have conflict amongst our team, I want us to bring those to the surface to talk about them and not just try to cover them up. According to Jolly, having a difference of opinion will often lead to a more creative solution, so I want us to be able to utilize that and not try to cover up the different of opinions we may have. So, keeping in mind the focus of our meetings is to provide students the ability to experience academic success, we need to discuss the process for making such decisions regarding our students. When making decisions for the welfare of our students, it's very important that much thought and consideration is implemented. We're going to be using the decision-making cycle that Ann Jolly describes. The cycle requires us to continually revisit, reflect, and revise. So the 7 stages she describes is to examine multiple sources of data. So every type of student data that we receive, we want to bring together to collaborate on. We're going to identify the focus area for teamwork. Decide what part of focus area the team will address. Develop a goal that meets the guidelines. Agree on the goal with total team support. Plan and carry out actions based on this goal. And lastly, we're going to adjust that progress and the goals when needed. So all 7 stages that she's describing is allowing us to look at the data carefully to narrow down on one focus instead of trying to take on a very large goal so that we can tackle it together more successfully. Lastly, I want you to know that I'm here to help you and to encourage you, not to critique you. I'm very interested in what you're doing in your classrooms, what strategies are working for you, and I want to help you where needed and praise you with the successes that you experience. I'm here to serve you just as Sir Giovanni explains to us in building communities and schools. He tells us that leadership is nothing more than serving ideas and ideals. It's nothing more than helping a community become what it wishes to become. So when we gather weekly, I want us to focus on not just our failures, but also our successes so that we can celebrate those together. I want to hear your success story so that others may be motivated by this. Change will not be easy. My goal is that when we hear others' successes, we desire to change our ways so that we are also able to share those successes with them. I expect there to be some hesitation and resistance, just as any change in life is not easy. But I want you to know that we're going to get those changes together, because I want us to be able to celebrate the successes and also to learn from our failures. When we feel like throwing in the towel, it's important that we realize the goal that we're here to focus on, and that's to see students succeed. When we see the big pictures about our students and not just the struggles that we may face to get that, it helps us get there a little bit easier. Aunt Jolly goes on to tell us lastly that, however, just as change is a process and it's not easy, predictable conflicts and difficulties are inevitable. They occur when the project progresses. Expect these and deal with them objectively. So we're going to document the pitfalls as well as the successes, and we want to learn from both. So are there any questions regarding the logistics of our meeting or the focus that we want to narrow down on? So for our first meeting today, we're going to spend some time looking at our students' end of the year assessments from last year and identify those students that were very close to being proficient and those students that also may need to be placed in RTI for extra services. Next week, I want each of you to bring back a teaching strategy that you use in your classroom that's successful for specific science content. So thank you guys for all that you do and the passion that we share for our students.